So this is the Blackmer TDX2D pump. It's made for fuel trucks. It has a shaft on each end, so you can run it clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on the side. It's a Vane pump. Turns this way. Fuel comes in here and out here. This is your relief valve. You can set the pressure, take this cap off. There's a thing for setting the spring in there, and that's so if you shut the nozzle off, the fuel just recirculates in the pump instead of building up pressure until it explodes, which is bad. So I need to actually use the counterclockwise side because that's the way my engine that I'm going to use runs. So it's also locked up, even though I let it sit out there with hoses on it. It got condensation and stuff in there, so it's probably just plugged with some rust. This is a lubrication relief. That little disc pops up, and then the underneath is a grease fitting. And the reason why the grease fitting is underneath is because this would be mounted under a truck, so you couldn't get to the top. So now, with it being mounted on that trailer, I'm going to need to put the grease fitting up here and the relief fitting in the bottom. So, but I won't need to take that out. That's the cool part. I should just be able to take this cover seal off and rotate it 180. We'll find out when I get in it. I'm going to knock this key out. So the key sits in the slot, and that's what securely mounted it to the PTO shaft. There you go. So it's just a half moon key. It's in pretty good shape. So probably this will wind up being used on the other side. So I don't know if this happened before I got it or after I got it. It could have been water sitting in that truck for a long time. And it's shot. So looks like a full pump rebuild is in order. So let me keep tearing it down. That's definitely why it won't turn. Luckily, this model is still fully supported, so I can get all the parts I need from Blackmer. At least I assume so. I hadn't called them yet. cover's loose. I can get it to wiggle. It does not want to come out of there, probably because the bearing's frozen on. Oh, the bearing's frozen on the shaft. Oh, interesting. Oh, this is going to be a fun rebuild. The shaft's pitted. Let me try to take another bits off. Alright, there's your discharge flange is out. Take the suction flange off. So this is your relief valve cover. This one's set, factory set between 50 and 75 psi. This disc fits on your, this is your adjustment spring for the pressure. So the tighter you make this, it pushes this spring in more against the valve seat in here, which is stuck, and that increases the pressure needed to force that valve back to relieve the pressure in the pump. So as you tighten it down, you increase the pressure to overcome the spring pressure, and but it protects the pump. Keeps you from blowing the vanes out, and it protects your piping system and all the delicate bits with that. So this has the plastic cover on it because on the truck's application it ran clockwise, so it used the other shaft. So this plastic cover will wind up on the other side when we get done with this. Oh yeah, lovely. Even had a spider crawl out on my arm. How about that? Ugh. Lovely. So, it's not so much that water got into the bearings, it's that it looks like they were never taken care of. Nobody ever crawled under there and lubricated them. When I had the truck, I never used the fuel pump. I had no need to. So, I had no need to lubricate anything and never tried to turn it or anything like that. I mean, it is... But should be standard bearings. You usually can buy them. I know there's a place in Columbia here that has any kind of bearing you want. Now this shaft, if I can take the whole thing apart, it's so rusty, I'll probably put it in a lathe and clean it up. Looks like I'm doing a full tear down and rebuild of this pump. But now I know that the pump's good to go. And these are very expensive pumps. I was on one place and it was $3,500. So considering what I paid for the truck and then sold the truck for almost what I paid for it, and even if I spent a couple $100 rebuilding this pump, man, these things are on there. Still come out way ahead. So, full tear down it is. But then I know the pump's a known quantity. I know exactly what kind of shape it's in. I know exactly, I know that it's ready to go. It'll be good for however long I want to use it. Just make sure that I grease it regularly. It'll be under cover. There's going to be a cover over the top of that front part of the trailer. I haven't decided how that's going to go about yet, but that's the plan. So let's see if we can get this end off. It may be a gain. And what I'm doing is I'm using the wedge part of the screwdriver in between there and just tapping around with this dead blow hammer, and it's splitting it apart. I think it's just going to be the fact the bearings are stuck on there. I prefer Croyle, but this PV Blaster stuff works real well for me. Everybody seems to have their own brand that they enjoy, that they swear works better than anybody else's. So just use whatever you want. So obviously these bearings are stuck on the shafts. Let's see if I can. I hate to hit it with a real. Don't really want to hit it with a steel sledge because you can break stuff pretty easy. So I did need a little brute force with a bigger hammer. It's the Navy Engineman way. Don't work the first time, get a bigger hammer. Now you just got to be real careful about damaging the. Don't want to damage the end of the shaft. I mean, I can clean it up once I get it apart. It's getting it apart that's the problem. It's just overcoming that all this rust on here. It is coming out. So just keep going. Success! It'll be interesting to see how to get these bearings out. So, the way this pump works, see these vanes? They're stuck on here, but see these vanes in these slots? See how that one's out, that one's in, that one's all the way in, that was sort of out. See the grooves in there, right here, and then there's grooves right here. So what happens is, it's in here elliptically. You can kind of see how it's thicker up top than it is on the bottom. So what happens is the centrifugal force is supposed to push these out of the slots, and as it rides around here, it's almost all the way in right here, the thickest part. And as it goes around, more and more room opens up. And as more and more room opens up, the fuel that comes in here gets trapped in the pocket between the two. Because there's another one right here. They're 90 degrees from each other. So that fuel that's caught in that pocket comes around here. And then when it starts to go back up, it starts to, the wheel starts to go, or because of how thick it is right here, it starts to force your vane. This is called a vane pump. It forces the vane back into that slot, which pushes the fuel up and out your discharge. So that's how a vane pump works. These are pretty worn. Even without the junk on there, you can kind of see the hump in the middle. So I'm gonna, oh, conveniently there's a part number on there, 091419. So Monday I'll be, well, I'll look online tonight, but Monday for sure unless I can order some straight away from somewhere tonight. I'll have new ones en route. I'll have new bearings, and I'll have new gaskets and seals if they sell a complete kit. Again, even if the kit's a couple $100, I'm coming way out ahead. So I will put this in my steam cleaner. I got one of those steam cleaners you put stuff in and just let it run, and that should clean 99% of this up. I might run a I have a what do you call it? Hold on, I'll think of it. Honing stone. So it puts 3 stones in here and they spin around, and it cleans that up. Actually, I have it right here. So this is a pretty big one. It's spring loaded. It's got 3 of these stones on there. So you put it in there like this, and it spring loads. And then you drive it with a drill, and it'll go around and it'll clean that up. Of course, I'm gonna clean all the gunk out of it first, because otherwise you just clog your stones up. But that's the plan. I'll get this sucker all cleaned up, get it all apart, drive this other cap off, get all these other vanes out. They're pretty stuck. So tap that out of there. Definitely need new vanes now. I mean, who knows when the fuel part of that truck was last used. I had the truck for 3 or 4 years, and as far as I know, it'd been sitting for years before that. So another vane. Alright, so I learned something interesting. This vane pump is designed with a rod system that runs between each vane across each the 180 vane. Baby stuck in here. Man, that one was definitely in there. Like I said, I'm gonna get new ones. I mean, unless I open this thing up and it looked perfect inside, I wasn't gonna stick with them anyway. But what it is a hole, and this rod passes through the hole. So the vane on this side and the vane on the other side, they actually move together. They push like that across. So as one's going in, the other one's going out. So this pump doesn't work off centrifugal. Some of them especially your smaller ones. It's just the sheer spinning and the weight will throw it out when there's more gap. This one's actually, as it goes around that elliptical, it forces them to go in and out. So learn something every day. So you can see the rod sticking up in there. If I move the camera, see it right there. It's sticking up because this other one was almost all the way in. So take this last one out. Of course, that one comes out way easy compared to the last one. So just push that rod out. It might just fall out like the other one did. I guess not. I could tap it out with this one. Alright, both rods. Alright, so I'll get this bearing out, get this cap off, figure out how to take the bearings out. That's going to be interesting. It looks like there's a seal of some sort that goes behind the bearing. So you put that in, shaft seal. It's just an O-ring maybe. Looks like there's supposed to be maybe 2 in there. See if I can find the manual online too. It's always good to look at the manual. Or you just do like I do and take stuff apart. But I've taken a lot of stuff apart, so I kind of know what to look for, how to do things. So we'll tear her down and get her all fixed up. Thanks for watching.